Hello there. Thank you for joining us. This is the Ruddi Bruce broadcast. You focus on the truth. I focus on the facts. People of Canada, your voice will speak a million strong. If we come together and fight what's going on. We got homeless people living in tents. Be compassionate, do not judge. Because 200,000 of us are using food banks. Where's the pride? Where's the pride? Where's our money we slave for? They cover it up. The working man is living poor. Ruddi has true leadership, speaking for the ones who are tired of this shit. Make the government officials get a grip. For everyone loses the respect. Something's wrong, open your eyes. They tell us lies, you're blinded to this. And mowing your lawn, united we stand, divided we fall. The time will come, the day is near, we will all march. So listen with your ears. We are not zombies or fresh meat. Let's grind up the government, make compost for the maple trees. Let's avenge the deaths of the ones who have fallen. Coronavirus, opioid, we're still trying. They thought they got away scot-free. We will get the last laugh, just wait and see. These talks we have on the broadcast will provide the guide. Let's do it fast. Taxpayers believe we live strong and free. Everyone does. Are you shitting me? Round of applause to you and yours for tuning in. We're opening doors. This is the real movement, people. Let's stand up, Canada, before we lose.
One way or another, I get it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the broadcast, the Ruddi Bruce broadcast. Now, the last time I did a live on YouTube here, we got cyber attacked by some morons, and we accidentally made one of them or two of them admins to take care of the bullshit that was coming in through the chat. So I took out the chat. I believe the chat is still out. I don't know. I'm waiting to see one of my other monitors pop up the channel. But to give you an update of what's going on here at the farm now, the cops have left. They've taken the Save-On Super Save has taken out their fences. The cops have left, as you see on my Facebook. They parked a car at the driveway, very intimidating. Like, blocked this in here. I went up there. I says, like, get the fuck out of here. Like, this is a last ditch attempt on intimidation. You know, a little more so than what they've already done. Intimidation with this whole friggin' mess. Sorry about that. So the cops are left. It's a rainy kind of a day here today. But there's a real emptiness at the farm because there's no more ostriches. Now, the update on that is they have filed. Let me get it up here. I'll get the animal rights has filed against the CFRA for the brutality of what they did in culling the birds. Animal Justice has filed against the CFRA for its handling, and I'm handling, its savage handling of. This was the most cruelest thing I've ever seen. Okay, and the handling of the way they killed the birds was ferocious. So now, what's left is a big lawsuit against the CFRA and the RCMP and whoever else was involved in this fiasco. This wasn't about health. This was about destroying these farmers' livelihoods and destroying their livestock on the basis of what? No test. No test has ever been done to those birds that were killed. Okay? They were asked to test them. Animal Justice was asking to, I believe they were in on it to ask the CFRA to test the animals because they lived past this so-called outbreak, which would then cause herd immunity for these ostriches. But the CFRA didn't take into account the real science of why these ostriches were so important. Why is that? Well, there's a nefarious system out here now called the WHO, and this big stamp out policy doesn't make any fucking sense. Okay? It's stupidity. If you don't look at the science of things, you're dumb, okay? That's why science is science. So that we're not dumb, right? But the CFRA believes in its policy, which I'll remind you is not law, okay? In their policy, that's the thing to do, okay? Ignore the science and just kill everything. Now, I'm telling you, that's very stupid. Extremely stupid. If you're not taking into account the science of what's really going on here, then you're a dumb, stupid individual. Okay? And then when the government turns around and brings in all this so-called data behind climate change and all this other shit, and you know damn well climate change is the biggest fucking fraud in the world, the way they're presenting it. We have climate change, yes. Natural climate change, yes. But the government's fucking version of climate change? Bullshit. It's nothing but bullshit. Then they bring in a carbon tax and charge you for the fucking air you're breathing. Tax you on the air you're breathing. Called the carbon tax. Okay? It's nothing more than a money grab so that you are paying more money to the government on a make-believe fucking climate change bunch of bullshit. And just like these ostriches met their death, it was an unbelievable bunch of bullshit. It leaves an emptiness at the farm. There's no more ostriches around to see anymore. They've been wiped out most horrendously. And I'm not going to get into the details because you're just going to have to take my word for it. It was horrendous, okay? 2 days I had to work on my composure because I was so upset over the loss of these birds. It was wrong. Pure wrong. This WHO treaty and the way that they're planning their methods is sinister. There's a big protest coming up November 22nd, and I urge all farmers across Canada to get involved. Because if you don't, and you sit back and you say this is okay, without understanding what they did here, these were untested birds. They slaughtered a bunch of untested birds. They were asked to test. Oh no, they didn't want to test them. They wanted to keep that hidden. This was the most nefarious fucking thing ever done in Canada against farmers. Now it's time for you farmers to stand up, get in your friggin' tractors, get the engines running, and get ready for November 22nd and hit the fucking streets. Don't sit back and say this was okay, because it wasn't. This was terrible. Absolutely terrible, horrendous. I don't know what more I could say to describe the horror of it. It was a disgrace what they did and the way they did it. Just a disgrace. So I hope they made lots of money on their fucking overtime and all that shit because, brother, the lawsuits are coming. This is not going to go unchecked. This is going to get done, settled through the pocketbook now, okay? Because that's all that's left. There's got to be a decent outcome somehow in this whole mess, okay? This is just horrible what they did. There's not enough words to describe it. It was so bad. They lived for 9 or 10 months after that so-called outbreak and blah, blah, blah. And no birds were sick. I videotaped these birds the day after I believe I got here. They didn't look sick to me. And I've watched them on camera. They didn't look sick to me. And you can just simply tell by looking at an animal if it's sick or not. Common sense will tell you the way it's acting is not normal. But that was not the case here. There was no outbreaks of anything from this farm in that whole time. But yet the cops came in here heavy-handed and in big numbers so that the CFIA could out and out pull off a crime, big crime against animals. And this is what's known as animal cruelty. Now, there's laws in Canada regarding animal cruelty. Laws. What the CFIA were under were policies. Policies, not law. They've overstepped their fucking bounds here, ladies and gentlemen. And this isn't over. There's a legal fight coming on. And you all best get on board with this and keep in touch with this. Because this, as I said, the biggest blunder, and you, the taxpayer, paid for this fucking shit. It was horrible. Over 900 shots all night long, taking out these birds in the most cruel and the most cruel they could think of. And some lasted until the wee hours of the morning, still alive, suffering, after watching all their mates fall to the ground. And just the panic of these birds must have been horrendous. If you could imagine. I'm talking horrendous. Like, the fear factor in this must have been unbelievable for these poor birds before they finally bit the big one. And now, today, they sit in a dumpster, believed to be in a dumpster at Savon, who I believe were never properly licensed to haul any kind of material like that. There's a lot to be said about what's coming out in the days to come, ladies and gentlemen, regarding this fucking fiasco. The emptiness is there, with no more birds to see. And after what they've done, it's just, what the fuck? You gotta ask yourself, what the fuck? What the fuck just happened? Because this is Canada, okay? Not fucking supposed to be Canada, supposed to have laws against these things. And when the friggin' cops, the Nazi fucking RCMP, are facilitating these individuals to break the fucking law of animal rights in this country. Law. Not policy. Law. To break the law. And they stood up and they prevented supporters from going in there, making citizens arrest, to stop such a nefarious thing that was about to happen. The RCMP were a part of it. They facilitated it. So do you think those are the guys? Now, we're paying their fucking money, their paychecks. We're paying their fucking paychecks out of taxes to do what they did, to break the law, in Canada, to facilitate criminals like that. That's what we, as taxpayers pay for. Just a question. Unbelievable. Unfucking believable. I don't call them cops that are upholding the law. I call them more like mafia or syndicate or something of that nefarious nature, that they just put that little uniform on that's supposed to represent the law. But they didn't that night. In fact, they brought in a whole battalion of them little motherfuckers against what? 30 fucking protesters, 30 supporters. They brought in a fucking huge battalion of cops to stand on that front line and smile at the supporters like you are stuck and you can't do shit, while we blast away at your ostriches. It was horrendous. I don't know how many ways to Sunday to explain that. On my last video, I was saying, okay, bring in a bunch of guys. Let's get a, news cast going down here for social media and the rest of it and all that. I think I'm changing my mind on that, because we've got in touch now with a good lawyer, animal rights lawyer. And with the people I've got here, when the ground is drier, We're going to search the grounds for any form of evidence that we can find and just build up the case from here. Now, there are people that had came down, and I wish to ask you all write statements of what you went through personally with this experience. Get in touch with the farm. Let's put these motherfuckers on the map for a big lawsuit. Let's look at all the angles, and let's leave nothing unturned. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to cut that there. And you can catch me on TikTok. You can catch me on YouTube. And eventually, maybe you'll catch me on Facebook. But I highly doubt it. So, Instagram. I might be able to do some stuff there. I don't know about X. But we're going to try and do something. Because we had been kind of cyber attacked. And... but whatever. I'm still here. I'm still alive. Still on the case. Let's make this happen. November 22nd, farmers and Canadians. November 22nd. Let's roll. Till next time. I'm just Ruddi Bruce. Getting the word out there.